What up, world? It's your man Melvin Taylor. I back with another video, and today we're gonna talk about if Captain Marvel was a disappointment or not.
HGC 107, boy, your name Melvin.
Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man Melvin Taylor, and we are back right here on WHCR 90.3 FM New York. Just letting y'all know the alternative with Melvin Taylor, is getting queued up and ready.
All right, so again, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Today we're gonna talk about Captain Marvel and how the movie was. So I went to go see it on Friday. What's up, guys? Melvin Taylor here. My room right now is a mess and it is a work in progress, so I cannot show that to you all. But I'm going to leave in a few minutes to go and see Captain Marvel. How do I feel? It's kind of weird, guys. I'm kind of excited, and it's not like I'm not excited at all. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm definitely excited to go and see the movie, but it's one of those excitements where it's like I'm kind of anxious because I want it to do well, and I know that a lot of people have been criticizing it and all of that. I'm not really subscribing to all of that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel though. But I just want it to do well because I know what it can do if it ends up doing well, and how many more doors it can and will open for other superheroes to then come out as well. I know one of the criticisms people have is like, yo, it's just the same type of people over and over, which I understand. However, with how well Black Panther did and how well this movie could potentially do, I think that this has a chance to be able to eradicate some of that. So ultimately we will see what occurs. So I guess I will check in with you guys once the movie's over with, and I'll let y'all know what I think. Friday night, I went to go see it. I couldn't go Thursday because I had a class that I had to go to, and Friday ended up going with my girl and three of my close friends, and got there already. I was in a different mindset because there was this dude that was sitting in our seats, right? And my friend texted me and was like, "Yo, homie ain't getting up out y'all seats, just so you know." So while my girl, my two people waiting to get their food, I'm like, "Yo, let me go over and let me run up in the theater because somebody's not getting up out our seats." So I was expecting for it to still be like a little early, so that I could visually like see like the lights still on, previews was on. So I walked in, I was like, damn, all right, it's already gonna be a whole different mood, right? So I get in and walk up there, and I see him sitting in like the middle seat, and around all of them, just all comfortable and whatnot. And I'm like, hey, yo, bro, like, I got this whole row right here. I'm gonna need you to slide for me real quick. And he ain't say nothing. He just kind of did. He had like a toothpick with like a sucker in his mouth. It was just like super dumb loud, where it was like, okay, all right, Melvin, let's just prepare ourselves for any and everything that may happen after this. And later on, my homie told me, he was like, hey man, if anything happened, I had your back. But in that moment, I was just like, okay, let's prep for this. So he moved. So I was like, I tapped him and was like, hey yo, bro, I'm gonna need you to slide. Hey yo, man, don't touch me. All right, bro, I ain't gonna touch you, but I need you to slide out these seats. So he took his time, casually got up, so I scooted into one of the seats so he can walk past, and he just looked at me. So I was like, all right, cool, bro. I will slide all the way out the row so that you have all the room you need to go ahead and move. So he went up and moved, sat one seat down. My people eventually came in and found their seat, so everything was cool from there. I saw he got into something else with somebody else about those seats too, tried to pull the same move, but whatever. Anyway, that's not... All that stuff happened like before the movie officially started, so we was good from there. Spoiler alert, from this point on, man, I kind of want to talk about the movie just in its totality. I don't want to hold back anything. Had this been like on Friday, I may have given y'all like, here's a non-spoiler review. It's Sunday at this point in time, bro. Sorry, but it is what it is right now, okay? Opening credits, bruh, had me in my emotions already because Stan Lee popped up. And you know how with the Marvel, for those of y'all that haven't seen it, don't really, or who may not, or don't really care about things being spoiled for you, you're still gonna enjoy it anyway. Shout out to y'all, by the way. Where you normally see the Marvel characters with like the Marvel Studios logo, it was all Stan Lee, and I was like, oh my God, this is gone, bro. I can't believe it. And I think afterwards it said like, we miss you, or we'll something remembered by Stan Lee. I know they did it at the end, but I think it was something that was right after that too. And then we kind of got into the movie from there. I kind of just want to, let me just go ahead from this point on, because I've talked a good amount. We already 3-4 minutes into the video, and y'all like, Melvin, like, what's up with your 4 points? So here are my like 4 thoughts about Captain Marvel, right? So my first thought was that initially coming out the movie, I had a bunch of mixed feelings about did I thoroughly enjoy this movie? Did I somewhat enjoy this movie? And normally leaving out of these Marvel movies, I kind of enjoy them. This one I felt a bit conflicted, and it wasn't so much because of her character or anything. It might have been a few traits here and there, which I will get into. But number one, this movie had to deal with a lot. When I sat back, and the reason why I waited so long to do this video is I wanted to sit back and just kind of think overall and everything of like what this movie had to deal with. And I just kind of took a few notes as well, because I really wanted to sit down here and talk with you guys about this. This movie had to deal with a lot, from setting up Captain Marvel to, like, number one thing for a lot of, aside from the movie and just where the movie fits within a chronological order of Marvel Studios, this movie has to set up how strong she is to help the Avengers deal with Thanos. That's a lot as is, because we saw the damage that Thanos did last time. Now we have to see, what is she going to be able to add to what is she going to be able to add to the Avengers in the next battle that they end up having with Thanos. 2, they had to set up an origin story. One of my favorite movies from the Marvel Universe is the first Captain America movie, right? I know a lot of y'all are like, ugh, but it's whatever. I love that movie. Y'all can suck it. Anyway, I like that movie a lot, but I know that critically and for most of the audience, it's kind of like, because number 2 and number 3 are just so good. Winter Soldier and Civil War, right? But with that one, it kind of took away some of the essence of really being able to show this is who Captain America is as the comic book character that we all know, because it had to set up his origin, who he was, why he is who he is, right? Same thing with this movie. There were a lot of points where what was okay, I'm gonna get that's in the second point, so let me not go all the way through it. There were a lot of points in the movie where I felt that they could have done a few things differently here or there to really kind of be able to hit on who her character is. But I forget, they have to introduce us to this character. She's somebody brand new that not a lot of people know about, and even people that know about comic books and know about Marvel, so to the extent like I do, don't even know a lot about Captain Marvel. So they have to set up who she is, why she is the way she is, what she stands for, what her principles are for. And I felt that at times that may have soured the movie a little bit, but I have to remember, grand scheme of things, and helping to launch who this character is, because it's just her. It's not like a gang of people, or not somebody that I already have attached memories and emotions to, somebody completely new. So I gotta give them that. 2, actually 3, they had to set up the whole Nick Fury thing, who Nick Fury is, why he is the way he is, and what he's actually really like when he's not this stoic presence that's only got one eye at a certain point in time, right? They had to throw in an Infinity Stone in some way. So we all remember from the first Captain America movie, another origin story that I just brought up a second ago, right? From the first Captain America movie, it showed the Tesseract. And remember, Red Skull sucked into the Tesseract, and now we know where he went after that. But what happened to the Tesseract, right? And how it got into, and how we ended up getting it. Now we know how that ended up happening. And we know like what other powers came from it, and how that also helped to set up her powers, so it can kind of put us in the mindset of she's so strong that she was able to absorb a blast from something that comes from the Tesseract, that helps to show what am I trying to say? She was strong enough to be able to withstand that, and that energy found itself within her body. So we know she's already strong, right? I'm gonna get to some more of that a little bit later. The Kree and Skrull War, it had to set that up in case later on that needs to, in case they decide to go upon that later on, and also to get some context to Guardians of the Galaxy and some things in Thor as well, so that way it can kind of fit within the order of things that we've already had. Also, just one thing about the Infinity Stone, if some of y'all know that in the movie, the cat had to swallow it, and it makes so much more sense now. I saw a video on Twitter earlier today where somebody was talking about the first Avengers movie where Widow slid Bruce Banner the phone that had the Tesseract on it, and he was like, "What do you want me to do? Swallow it?"
This is the Tesseract. It has the potential energy to wipe out the planet.
What does Fury want me to do? Swallow it?
Like, it's just so funny that they made that wraparound joke, bro. But anyway, had to set up the Kree and Skrull War so that way we can know why the Kree are bad and why the Skrulls are not as bad, right? Because for a minute, like during the movie, I was like, well, aren't the Kree the good guys? But I'm thinking of them in the bad. Like, what's going on here? Like, it was a lot going on, right? So again, like I said before, it had to set up her power and how that's going to help the Avengers in the next movie, in Endgame, and how powerful she is. And it also had to jumpstart Shield like starting and not and what the Avengers initiative was, and how she was like quote unquote the first actual Avenger, bro, and how that began to be the launching pad for everything else that we have now with the Avengers. And another thing that it had to do as well was just show that she can carry her own movie and show that she's somebody that is a force to be reckoned with within it. The most powerful thing that happened to me in the movie that I know resonated with other people was the scene where she was talking to her homegirl. I'm forgetting the character's name. That's like her best friend. That's also the mom as well. When her daughter, the mom's daughter, went to go find the rest of Carol Danvers' stuff, Captain Marvel's stuff, and just those two were in the room with Sam Jack, aka Nick Fury, and she asked Fury, "Hey, go help her daughter with something," and he was like, "Oh, me?" And then he left the room. I noticed that as something significant because I've seen enough movies to know that never happens. And my homie that went to film school was also like, that's something that almost never happens in movies. It's always women getting sent out the rooms. And the fact that a man had to get sent out the room so that two women could be the main focal point of conversation, incredible, bro. Absolutely incredible. And I'm sure that's something that the women that were on set that day and the women that saw that video and even people that know that notion and have that mindset and know that, like, all appreciate it. Because that's something in the theater. I was like, oh, shit. Well, that's awesome. Because I don't see that often, you know, and they're always talking about something in reference to men, and that for brief periods in that conversation, it was just about their relationship and them being friends without her having a love interest, which was going to tie into the next one, her not having a love interest either. And the fact that they could help to establish all of this without that was stellar to me, stellar. So when I think back about all of that, right, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different points in my first point that I just gave y'all. My first thought. 10 points in my first thought that I just gave y'all for how much stuff they had to pack into this movie. So there's gonna be points where I'm gonna talk about some aspects in this movie where it could have been better, but the fact that they were able to fit all those things in and they could do it in the way that they did it, I 100% have to give credit to them for that, because a lot of people that are out there are tearing the movie down by saying it was too this or it was too that or it had too much this, had too much that. But for them to be able to set up all those things within an origin story and still have to fit within Endgame that's coming up next, I had to take time away from giving you this review immediately afterwards, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, have I given it to you right after I saw the movie, all of the points in which I'm gonna go through right now, I would not have been able to give you. I would have been just kind of like spitballing off of what I had at the top of my head, and these things would have came to me when they did, but you would have already had the video and your mind would have been made up about what I said. So I'm actually glad that I took the time to wait, because that adds so much more depth into this movie and how good it is at the fact that they were able to do that. Moving on to my second thought. All right, so thought number 2. I had to recognize that there was a part of this movie and parts of this movie that just weren't for me. And that took me a little bit to get, but then when I made the equivalence to some of the things that happened in Black Panther, it made so much more sense to me, right? So for some of y'all that don't know what I'm talking about, there was a particular point in the movie where when she's actually fully actualizing her power, and also when she has the memories of like growing up and like all the times when guys were just like straight up being a dick to her, or even the dude on a motorcycle that made like the cockpit joke. No, not the dude that made the cockpit joke. He was just hitting on her. But there was another dude that made like a cockpit joke about her not flying, right? And immediately afterwards, me and my friends had a conversation where I was like, did they do that too much? Like, did they kind of like placate to what's going on in the Me Too movement, and did they overdo it? But I later on had this conversation with my girlfriend too that made me really think, like, when I related it back to Black Panther, it made sense. So here's what I'll go with that. In the Black Panther movie, when Killmonger started making his points about Wakanda being too secretive and not being able to help out other people within the world, other black people within the world that could have used their resources to help combat some of the things that they went through, some of the oppression and racism that they went through, that spoke to me because I could see where he was coming from and saying, damn, like, yo, y'all 100% could have helped out. Like, but y'all just sat back the whole time and just watched all the horrible stuff that people had to go through, right? While I don't think Killmonger was 100% correct in anything that he did have certain points where he was right to me. That related back to this movie when I had to think about, yo, did they overdo it with like the, oh, girls can't do this, girls can't do that? I'm not a woman. I'm not a girl. I'm not somebody that identifies as one, right? So I had to talk to my girlfriend and other women that I know and other girls that I know to be like, yo, is this what it feels like for you? Is this what it's like all the time? Like, are these the things that you've gone through your day when they all unanimously were like, yes, this is something that we go through. These are the struggles that we go through. These are the things that we go through. And like, we're not just saying these things just for you guys to like tune us out, but we're actually saying these things because we went through those things. I then had to take a step back to be like, yo, I can't knock this movie for being for an audience that's not for me. I was just a participant being able to watch it and see it fit within the storyline, right? So I can't bash the movie absolutely for being like, yo, it did this too much, it did that too much. It had to set up the reasons for why that was important. And that's, I'm sure, going to pay off in more that we see of Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel and who she is. But it had to show that these are things that she's gone through that helped to push her to who she is now. And now that when I think about that and relate that to Killmonger with Black Panther, and I just think to myself, those points in the movie weren't for me. So for me to be like, oh man, they overdid it. But somebody over here is like, no, that's perfect and spot on. I gotta take that for what it is and for they were, because that's not an experience that I go through. In the same case that some people said that, oh, they might have overdid it with Killmonger, but when they asked me, and I'm like, bro, he not all the way right with like the killings and stuff that he was doing, but that specific part like was correct. There are a lot of black people that have been oppressed, and there have been times where leaders or people in powerful positions did not do as much as they could have to help other black people out or other minorities out. It was like, yo, my man got a point. And so for this movie, I have to say this movie got a point too, of being like, these are things that girls go through, and we want to identify with them and show them that, yo, y'all got a superhero among y'all. Like, there's a superhero representation out there for you guys as well. Boom, here she is. You don't always got to be Black Widow, right? You ain't always got to be the love interest. I'm thinking homegirl from Thor, or you know, like in the vein of what Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie was, but even more so with the power that Carol Danvers has, you know? So that for me was awesome too, and something else that when I sat back on it, I was glad to be able to recognize as well. So kudos to them for that. 3, my third thought, Jude Law. Bro, unfortunately, that just kind of spoiled it for me. I saw it coming. Like, I could just tell with the way that Jude Law was being, I was like, this nigga finna end up being a villain, bro. I see it already. I see it. He's 100% about to be a villain. And there are different points where I was like, maybe he's not, and maybe it's just the people around him. But when he was trying so hard at a certain point to kind of make, no, you have to leave. You have to be gone from Earth. You have to do this. You have to do. You trying too hard to control her, bro. You trying way too, for her to be a rebellious spirit, for her to be a rebellious person, somebody that kind of shuns authority in a way. It's like, bro, I'm gonna figure this out myself. And for you to try and rap on so much, come on, bro, you do an absolute most. You already gave yourself up. Now I know that y'all finna turn. So when the big reveal happened that he was actually the bad guy, that was shooting at her. It still caught me in a way because I was like, oh, it's true. But it was kind of like, I seen it coming a little bit. And the fact, before I even get to my next point, the fact that she had that little thing on her neck, and throughout the entire time in them 6 years of her being alive, she did not at one point in time question, why the fuck I got this thing on my neck that always go off when I like get too powerful or something like that, you know? But my girl made a good point where she said, Joe, if you got amnesia and you just wake up and you don't remember nothing and the people around you are telling you that, you know, they're feeding you a particular viewpoint, a particular perspective and telling you who you are, and they're giving you all these things, you're not going to think about something that they tell you to put on their neck because they already feeding you, right? They out here taking care of you. They making sure that you're good. They're training you and all of that. And I said, you know what? You made a damn good point, babe. You made a damn good point. I hadn't even thought of it in that way. But that was just a little thing that I was like, every time I supercharge, bro, this shit go crazy. Like, take this off my neck. But anyway, my last point would be, and this is where I'm gonna kind of get more critical about the movie. Number one, the action lacked in some of the big moments. And what I mean by that is that, say like during the big fight when they're on the ship, right? And she has to stall them for time. Some of the music selection, it didn't resonate with me. Again, I know some of that ain't for me, but they could have, I wish they would have went with like a more classical approach in terms of how they done the movies, with like a score that's going to uphold the battle that's going on and kind of give it its gravitas for what's at stake, right? But they didn't do that, and I felt that they could have did that a little bit more. And I also, like, I have to remember that these are different warriors that she was facing that were already strong and everything. But unless these guys are super strong, it kind of downplayed to me how strong that she was, you know? Because I'm like, yo, if you're supposed to be like a superwoman or a Superman, but in the Marvel universe, bro, they should be knocked out after like 1-2 punches. Again, that's her still growing into her power, seeing how powerful she is, which I'll get into in a second. But could have did a little bit more in terms of that. And my next point was actually, let me get back through the rest of that, because I got some more with the action points before I get into the rest of it. That one time when she was falling out the sky, right? And she was falling down to earth after she jumped on my man's ship, and then she learned how to fly and everything. When Ronan came and Ronan sent out the missiles, I was kind of mad because, one, honestly, I don't think you even needed the whole Ronan thing, but with Ronan having a relationship with the Kree Skrull makes sense, okay? Because and the reason that I say that is because for knowing how powerful Ronan is, they could have did a little bit more to like showcase his power, and him be like, I know ultimately he was like, hey, she too strong, bro, take us back to the jump point, I ain't dealing with this, I'll come back for this later type of thing. But he could have did a little bit more. And the reason I say he could have did a little bit more, even though I know he did a lot, right, was because the way that she handled the missiles and Ronan's fleet after that, again, downplayed how strong she was to me. One of y'all could tell me, yo, it accurately showed how strong she was to me. It downplayed it. How downplayed it was this? When the missile was coming at her, and she was pushing back on the missile, and found out that it was too strong, and they had to really dig deep and like push that mug up and like photon blast it a little bit, supercharge her push to be able to oh, can we back up some more? There we go. And really like supercharge her push to like to get the missile back up that way. When it blew up every other missile. That I'm gonna be honest with y'all, bro, that pissed me off. So I was like, bro, you just undermined how strong she was, because how cool of a moment, right? Walk with me here. How cool of a moment would it have been had she pushed that missile up, right? Excuse me. She pushed that missile up, or she like pushed it up, boom, photon blasted, that mug blew up, right? Now she sees the rest of the missiles coming. Y'all, I think some of y'all gonna know where I'm going with this. How many of y'all watch Dragon Ball Z? Y'all know about the Kamehameha wave, right? How awesome would it have been for her to do like a supercharged like photon blast that's like, hey, y'all on Earth finna see a solar flare in the atmosphere or something. boom, and obliterate all of them. The fact that she pushed the missile up and in that explosion, it blew up the rest of the missiles, kind of downplayed how strong she was, because I'm like, if she's able to, boom, blow that one up, all right, boom, blow the rest of them up, then I would have been like, oh, she's strong as shit. Versus, oh, she just blew up one and then blew up the rest of them. That's kind of like some dumb luck type of thing. You see what I'm saying? I wish it would have been more like that, because that would have given me a little bit, it would have given her ability more credence to be like, oh, she gonna be super valuable in this Thanos fight. Not saying that she isn't already, but it would have added more unto her power to be like, now I see why people are saying she's the strongest Avenger out of all of them, right? And I still gotta remember that all of this is in a bubble. I gotta see how her powers are around the rest of the Avengers, so even they can be like, oh, she dumb strong. Then it will make more sense to me. But again, this right now is in a bubble in some things, right? And now that's gonna take me up to his fleet as well. I noticed she was like, pew, 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 pew. With the photon blast, again, it would have been cool to see one big giant kaboom, like a solar flare into space now that y'all finna see. And it again will show this is how powerful she was. It's still cool that she knocked all of them out with the photon blast, but I wanted to see a big expansion of her showing her power to kind of to go along and show how strong she was. Like the same amount of power that she saw when she shot out with the ship towards the end to like go into a different part of the galaxy. That's how much I wanted for her to show. And then another thing was with Ronan's ship is that I wish there was just some more people into the ship, because like I see that she kind of flew around, blew some shit up, and then came back and then faced him, and then he was like, hey bro, it's time to dip. Like, hey, start the car, bro. Start it. We gotta go, type of thing, right? I wish that just would have been more people on the ship, and she could have did a little bit more damage to it. Because one more time, and I'm already beating a dead horse, it just would have showed her true power to me. But I know that that's still something that she's going through and learning, because she literally just learned how to fly like 3 minutes beforehand. So I get it. I get it. But having to fit all of that in made that like big battle to me not have to pay off as much, because she couldn't really use all of her gifts and all of her abilities. But one thing that I will say to their credit in not doing that is now that she's had her full movie, and now that they're gonna have to like set her up sweet in Endgame, right? Her next movie, Captain Marvel 2, nigga, I'm dumb hyped for how powerful she gonna have to show how she is. Cause now think about this, right? We only got to see a small sample size of her power in her movie. Now when you go into Endgame, I'm sure they're gonna have some crazy shit where it's like, oh, there's some shit she learned on the other side of the galaxy. Oh, okay, right? And then even going from there into her second movie, they're gonna have to show, oh, there's some shit she picked up even since then. Get ready. So now that we've gotten past that origin story, I'm more excited to be like, yo, that next movie finna be lit, bro. It's finna be dumb lit. So that was that. I don't know if it was just my theater. This is the other slide I'm gonna slide into. I don't know if it was just my theater, but they needed to turn up the volume early on, and in some of the talk scenes, it was just a little too low for me. And even the music in the fight scenes, which is why I think I wanted it to change, was all too low. And I even struggled to hear some of the lines that they were saying. And then when the fight scenes came on, the music wasn't loud enough. And you know how when you're in a movie theater, like during Endgame, that music was, I'd say Endgame, then Infinity War, music was blasting, right? And so that it's blasting, you can then like, you feel the moment, you feel the occasion. When Thor came in Wakanda, you felt that with the music. With this music, because it was too low, I didn't feel it as much. Maybe if the music was higher, it wouldn't have affected me in the way in which it did, where I was like, I wish it was different. Maybe if it was like a, oh, okay, it's all inclusive type of thing, I would have been able to be okay with it. And then at some points, man, I think her silliness and her goofiness, and this is just her as a character and something that I think we'll see a different side of after Endgame, once she sees how big of a threat this is and moving on to her next movie. In some cases, the silliness and the kind of like aloofness she had in a way also kind of downplayed how big of the mission was at stake and how big the stakes were. I wish that she would have been a tad bit more serious in some of those instances, so that way it would have played into, yo, this is something major right now. And this is something, hold on, I gotta make sure this charger. Bro, I plugged it up. Don't tell me low battery. Okay. All right, I was just plugging it to the other one. Anyway, it would have played into excuse me, how big the moment was, because her just kind of be like, whatever. Like to an extent, it was like, oh, that's dope. But when you overdo it, then it's like, okay, like you a little too cocky for me right now. But yeah, you know, is what it is. So those were my like 4 thoughts in general, just about the movie for right there. And actually, got a bonus one for you guys too. Okay, so this bonus one right here is just me talking about, it's just gonna be like random rapid fire in the sense of me talking about other things I liked about the movie. Love Nick Fury, and seeing Nick just kind of, oh, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Hey, that was kind of fire to be like, yo, he's got a whole different side to him that we see now when he's not being the stoic character, right? Like that was so cool to be able to see. And now I'm like, damn, I definitely got to get some more Nick Fury in my life, and I'm excited to see the role that he plays going forward. And hey, Marvel, I'm just saying real quick, bro, if you ever want to do a young Nick Fury movie, y'all know, hey, this is bald head named Melvin channel right here, bro. Look, I can play Nick Fury, bro. I could play, just put me in the sun a little bit longer, you know, I can get a little bit darker, and then you just be like, yo, what happened? Hey, man, Nick moved out to, originally he was East Coast based, right? And then he moved out to LA, and when he got to LA, just being in the sun just made him a little bit darker. But right now, bro, I cut all this, I got the bald head, y'all can put the cap on me to give me hair, whatever y'all want to do, I'll gladly play that role. So I love Nick Fury in it, awesome job, Sam Jackson. The Skrull storyline, tearjerker almost. Tearjerker if you change some of the things in the movie, right? The fact that we got to see why the Kree were the bad guys and how the Skrulls were like, hey, come on, man, we just trying to find a place to have home. I was like, ooh, this was a good ass turn, Marvel. Yes, sir. I like that. Thank you so much for that, because it humanized them in a way that made me think about, damn, well, shit, good stuff right there. You know what? Hey, yo, fuck the Kree, dog. Hey, Jude Law, you on some bullshit, bro. So that was cool. I'm forgetting, please somebody remind, matter of fact, while we in here, because this video already long as shit, so if you here, then that just mean that you rock with you. Are we back? Okay, there we go, my bad. Homegirl that played Maria, Lashana Lynch, did an A1 job. A1 job in terms of like just being a strong supporting character, and just being like, no, bro, you're not finna just run up in here and blow my life up and blah, blah, blah. And really like trying to, and really helping Carol in terms of being like, this is who you were before. This is who you really are. These are the things that help to make you up. I think that she did an outstanding job. And I kind of want to see now, what is she going to be like in Captain Marvel 2? Is she gonna be in Captain Marvel 2? Because now she's gonna be older. Carol may still look the same. She's gonna look a little bit older now. So what's that gonna be like? You know, she's gonna be like in 40 something basically, because she was in her 20s at that point in time, right? Now she's gonna be like 40 something. So that's gonna be interesting to see. And also, is her daughter, who did an excellent job, by the way, is her daughter going to be like in the Air Force now? What's her daughter's role gonna be? Is her perfect point for Endgame? Did Maria get snapped away and is her daughter around? Or is it vice versa? Is her daughter going to be a young Avenger? Something like that. I know I keep saying daughter all crazy, but y'all get what I'm saying. Also, just to type in the Endgame as well moving forward, what is Carol Danvers and Nick Fury's relationship going to be like around the other Avengers? Because he's been this super stoic, like rugged type of guy. And now, is he going to be that same way when Carol returns? Or is he going to be like, hey, around me and you, we can be like what we was. Around them, I gotta hold this stance, and we can't bend on that. I want to see what that's gonna be like too. The cat, excited about the cat, man. The cat better come back in Captain Marvel 2, and it better be around for Endgame, bro. I wanted in both the movies. Please bring it back one more time. I already talked about the relationship between them. Cool, I got that. And then for Endgame, man, I just want to see what role is she gonna play. I hope that we get to see like at least a very awesome, like this is her true power type of moment, like we got to see with Thor, where it was like, oh, these movies, 3 Thor movies, then paid off. We get to see that now. For her to be the strongest Avenger out of all of them, bar none, I gotta see a display of that power. I gotta see something that's like, hey, Thor, get the fuck out of here, bro, because Captain Marvel, like, hey, go handle what you gonna handle, because Captain Marvel got all this right here. I want to see that. Like, please show me that so that way I can fully believe in the amount of power that she has at this point in time. All right. Honestly, I think that's everything for me. So just to wrap up, because I know this video long as hell, and I want to say thank y'all, and I appreciate y'all for sticking with me through all of this video. But just to wrap up, I know that with most origin stories, they're difficult to be able to tell, because you have to set up how this character is, why this character is, who this character is, and then they also a superhero, and they have to fit within a certain narrative, right? And then you gotta meld those together. With some of the shortcomings that this movie did have, it makes me excited for Captain Marvel 2, because now that we've gotten that out of the way and we can get another piece of her in the Endgame as well, it's really going to set up us being able to move along into her story and really showcase how powerful she was, or how powerful she is, and how cool of a character she is now that we've gotten the origin and where she has to fit within this narrative out the way. Now we can truly tell her story and what she goes through and how she's going to develop moving forward, versus having to fit within all of this. And that part has me more excited than what I saw, because I know now that we got the semantics out the way, we can get to this point here. And the very last thing that I'm gonna say is that this also makes me excited from how well this movie is doing, is that now, bro, black people can carry movies, women can carry movies. Now I'm ready to see a Marvel, a Latin descent hero, ready to see an Asian hero, ready to see an Indian hero, ready to see a Muslim hero. Like, now it can be shown that, bro, if you make a good story and it fits within this narrative that they have, and this chronological order that they have, and it plays with some of that Marvel formula, bro, you can make it happen. And that makes me excited to be like, there are going to be more kids that's going to be like, yo, I'm represented through this character now, or I want to be this character now, and everybody will be able to have somebody to identify with. So that's awesome to me as well, and I'm dumb hype about that too. But man, this video been long as shit, and I got to go ahead and edit this mug so that y'all can have it, so I'm going to go ahead and bounce out at this point in time. All right, man, if you got any comments, or if you disagree, or if you agree with something that I do say, please let me know down below. And also remember to subscribe to the channel as well, man, so that way I can continue to give y'all some of these reviews, my thoughts, these reactions, my radio show, my radio show, my YouTube show, and some of the other things that I got cooking along as well. All right, thank y'all so much for watching this video. Please remember to make sure that you like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out my links in the description down below. Stay blessed, stay favored, always stay tailored. I will see y'all next video, man. Peace and love.